In 3, 2, 1. You clowns, how's it going?
Oh, it's going.
Like always, up and down.
It's Friday, right? Yeah.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
Friday night Schyte.
Weekend is
Friday
coming.
night.
Oh, it's right. It's right in the title. Of course it is.
Yeah, of course. We just had a bunch of like cold late September rain, and then now it's sunny out and nice.
It's
I
nice.
should be
This is the
outside,
best
but
weather right here.
yeah, but it is. It really is.
So.
The crisp weather. So yeah. Shit. So we'll wait till some people roll in.
Perfect.
Joseph Rios is here. What's up, y'all? Hey. I'll wait till we get 20 folks in here.
20 folks.
Oh my gosh.
As long as they don't steal your goddamn car battery.
Yeah.
You still why did you steal my goddamn car battery? I know you did. I watched you do it. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck. Yeah. That was a fun story. So we got 5. We got 5. It'll increase. And as soon as Michael Atakakakakerman gets here, which he was when he was eating Culver's in the Jeep.
That's right.
He was eating that, and then it was good. He was like, okay, cool. He takes a bite, and he's like, oh, it's really good. It's just like it is.
We've only ever encountered one person that doesn't like it.
You have.
I think we gotta call that person a wash though, because they didn't get anything.
I still don't know what you are talking about.
Culver's? Well, you have to get some.
Yeah.
We'll go to Culver's, Bernd, and we'll get you.
You gotta go to Culver's and try it.
No, he's been to Culver's. He said, I was not impressed. Like in typical German fashion. Bernd was like doing that whole shit. We have to get him a double butter burger with the works, sans a tomato, and just basically what I get.
Yeah.
And see what he thinks.
That makes me already afraid. Just what I get.
Well, I mean, the thing is, you gotta approach it like you're an American, like you're 400 pounds and you're driving in here.
Well, hey, here's the cool thing is,
I am American now, so
there you go. You got to try it as an American.
Right? Yeah. When he was a guest, it might not have been as great. When he was a guest to the country. Now that he's an American,
it might be better.
Seriously, get him the double butter burger with cheese with the works sans tomatoes, without tomatoes. He's gonna be like, okay, this is fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to get a good burger, and the beef is like Michael said, he's like, the beef is like, it's got its own texture. It's good. Like it's not just like biting into a burger where it's just like okay, it's slimy. It's like a crunch to it.
Yeah,
it's got flavor,
and it's made fresh.
Yep. And then you have the cheese curds, which admittedly, Culver's cheese curds are like the bottom level, entry level into Wisconsin cheese curds.
They're not the best. The cheese curds aren't the best, but to be fair, there isn't really a bad cheese curd.
No, but like they do them right. They do them right. Like it's all good. But like he even said those were good. So there's hope when we go to the state fair someday, and we get some actual fucking cheese curds. Michael's gonna be like, oh Jesus, yeah, okay, I get it. So, yeah, and okay, JS. Bernd, what happened to the stash?
Yeah, we were shooting a trailer for the movie, so it had to go.
You shot a trailer?
He just wanted to be a real boy like me.
No,
Bernd, you shot a trailer? You shot a trailer for what?
No, I didn't shot the trailer. I was in the trailer. So.
What kind of trailer was it? Like a snowmobile trailer? Like an RV? Like what were you shooting at?
For my business, I have a trailer which I put behind my car, and I pull with that things to my customers and unload it there.
He's like the Winnebago salesman. He's just he's really nice when you're filming him, and then all of a sudden when he doesn't think he's being filmed, these fucking flies! Oh my god, these flies! It's the fucking god!
But it wasn't flies, it was mosquitoes, Mike. It was mosquitoes. We dealt a little bit with mosquitoes. Yeah.
Well, there was a lot of flies
the last couple of weeks for sure. So
Well, there's a lot of flies in Iowa. Just throwing that out there. Little Michael, the fucking hipster that he is like sitting down there. Like if you saw the pictures, like he's sitting there in like a button-up shirt with a fucking Seinfeld t-shirt underneath, shorts, and his boots. It's like, well,
you don't do that out in the sticks.
Well, he did that. He got into the shots. He fucking laid down and the grass and I asked Jorg. I said, "Are there a lot of ticks in here this time of year?" He goes, "Nope." I was like, "Good," because up in Wisconsin and Minnesota, like
They're
still
fucking
a problem.
everywhere.
It's still a problem.
Yeah.
Nobody got ticks, which is good. No, Michael in his little hipster fucking uniform, he got down and was like, okay, so this is where he had my M1, one of my M1s, and he's like, all right, this is the shot. All right, so you guys, check this out. This is where I want you to sit. Bam. No, Michael got down there, but he's literally dressed like a hipster.
Yeah.
With his little sunglasses and his hair. Had to have his hair done. Had to have his hair did every morning in the hotel room. He's like, oh, because the second morning, like after shooting, his comb was in the Jeep, right? And I was like, well, I better go out and get that for him while he was in the shower. And so I put it on the sink. I'm like, I brought your comb in. He's like, or whatever. He goes, oh my God, thank you. And you could just hear him just going through. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, this is really what it's about.
He's got to maintain that hair, Mike. He cares about his hair more than I do mine.
Well, he's got nice hair. He does have nice hair.
He takes care of it. Yeah.
He takes care of it. And they're like, yeah, he puts product in it and then, combs it a certain way and it looks good. But like, it's still like my redneck hick ass is sitting down there going, well, I was just sweating like 10 gallons of fluid yesterday and I only drank 3. And so my hair is kind of just, it is what it is. But, I guess it'll just fall where it falls.
I give it the classic old, I'll run my fingers through it once and we're calling it good.
Pop it forward and we're good to go. And Michael and his hipster fucking thing. I'm talking shit about Michael right now because he's actually doing the finishing touches on
doing work
the trailer.
We're not.
Right, exactly. He's doing the finishing touches.
He's just polishing the backside of my trailer. That's a finishing touch.
Your trailer. Yeah, your trailer. And so, Bernd.
My business trailer, my business trailer, which I take items to my customers.
Kong, Michael's got better hair than you do. Let's just put it that way. He's got really good hair. Really good hair. And Burdette even commented and said, I used to have hair like that when I was younger, and I combed it and I styled it the same way, and I liked that. And Michael was like, really? And so it was like, yeah. So Burdette's got style, and obviously Michael has style too. But yeah, we're talking some shit about Michael, but he delivered, and when he gets on, he'll be on here in a bit. He's editing the trailer that we're going to be releasing tomorrow morning, and when more people get on here, we'll go into more detail about the trailer. But he's editing that, doing the final touches on there, polishing it up on Bernd's trailer for his business, and it's all good.
Oh gosh.
But yeah.
At least he had fun down there. Nobody got West Nile or
that's insane. Nobody got hurt either, because honest to God, the terrain that we were shooting in that canyon, when you guys see this,
it was terrible.
It was, dude, like, I know how to walk in terrain, and so does Bernd, and so do you. It was really, really like, oh my God, it was, because all the rocks were loose. All of them were, you could step on in the water to get across the water, were loose. None of them were actually in there.
Also because of the drought. Water's probably way lower.
No, it's just the way. It's just the way these particular rocks, the limestone, crumbled.
It's
back
limestone.
In the day.
Limestone
limestone's all sharp and jagged and crumbly.
Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly it. And it was like how we had a bunch of college kids out there.
Interns, right?
No, just students that were film students or history students that were, they had a task at hand, and like, you're the water person, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're whatever. Coffee, we had a guy for, or a person for coffee.
I had a girl.
We had a person for coffee, and everything, and they were running back, and it's like, don't run in that. You're gonna twist your ankle, like, and they didn't, and it was like nobody got hurt, which was amazing, and also very impressive, and because man, I almost twisted my ankle several times, just stepping, and then the rock slides, and you go into the water, and you're like shit, and then you're underneath a bunch of other rocks. It's like okay. But no, it was really cool, and for that thing. But yeah, it was very fun, and we decided to we'll just give a little bit of the preface here of oh shit, Michael's ready when we are.
Look at that.
So I shall send him
that overachiever.
Very overachiever.
Overachiever. He better have the Seinfeld shirt on.
So the boss is coming on?
The boss is coming out, so we got to behave. I can't talk shit about him anymore and his
God dang it.
hipster ass.
That no good, lousy.
Fucking hipster. Like, seriously. Even my girlfriend was like, man, he's such a hipster. And I'm like,
I look like a fucking hipster, but
oh yeah, but you saw that, you're like, oh shit.
But
me cringe a little bit.
He pulled it off, Mike. He pulled it off. Yeah, I mean,
we're not Bernd, don't start giving the compliments yet. We have to berate this guy so he's so far down that the conversation will go well and he's not cocky.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Can't let him get too headstrong. You got to take him out.
He's not yet on, so therefore, yeah. But I was so cooked, you have no idea. I was so cooked after that day.
Well, you're also der alte Mann, so it's.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the amount of work we put into that.
How's that original footwear too? It makes you appreciate modern like arch support and shit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He also. His first scene, he walked through water. You know.
Yep.
So, we were just talking about how excellently you were dressed, and we weren't talking shit at all about how much of a fucking hipster you looked like out on set. And you know, we were definitely not doing that.
You defined your haircut.
We talked about your haircut,
yeah. There's no proof at all that that I was watching beforehand or anything like that.
No. That's why we're all honest here, and we're saying that didn't, it didn't quite happen the way you thought it might have happened. Yeah. It was just, we were razzing some people a bit, and Bernd got razzed, and well, Devin wasn't there, so he didn't get razzed, but he was doing part of the razzing. It's all good. It's all good, man.
It's all good. Oh gosh.
You guys just reminiscing?
Just talking about everything in general, how the weather's been and everything else.
We were also just talking about the rocks down at the canyon, and like how we're surprised that nobody actually got hurt at all.
Yeah, it was a jagged, rugged area.
Hey, it's not done yet. There's still plenty of time for somebody to get hurt.
No, that shooting is done. That part in that shooting.
Oh, the movie's out? Where can I watch it?
Not the movie, the teaser.
So there's still more stuff where people can get hurt.
Okay, but the trailer part, like, it's done there, bud. But the cool thing is, like, very, very few people will actually know about this unless you're watching, is Michael, the first day we actually met Bernd in person and we went out to the site, was wearing his really nice shoes. Okay. Wearing really nice shoes. And so we go to the site, and it's very rugged terrain. It's not great to walk through. And Michael's shoes are fucked. He's got mud on them. He's got water. He's like, geez, I'm like, why don't we just walk barefoot back? And then Bernd and Jorg were like, nah, it's not a good idea. And it's like,
it's like the coral reef out there.
Right. And he's like, God damn, I wish I wore my boots out here.
Welcome to the shit, Mike. This is what the Midwest is like.
Well, I didn't expect us to go like in the thick of it that day, because that day I was traveling all day, and I had my Steve Madden boots on, and I got to polish them again. I got to clean them up and polish them again, because they got dirty.
Gives them character, though. Gives them character.
Michael, one thing you have learned in the meantime: when I once say something, we do it, and it gets done. Yeah, we don't pussy around. If we need to go through rugged areas, and we do that. Yeah, so then boom and through.
Well, to be fair, I had my tennis shoes on, which also were not great.
Not a good choice for that terrain either.
I didn't care how they looked, but it was like my feet were getting stabbed, and it was not. I was slipping on things that normally wouldn't have happened, and they were wet. And so, yeah, we both learned a lesson of like, let's just wear boots out when we go and scout out a shooting area.
Yeah, and we did for the whole shoot.
Oh yeah, we were wearing boots. And
I mean, I think it was cool when we met up that day. We had a very central point in Iowa Falls, a Quick Star gas station, and because I didn't know, I knew that Mike is driving a Jeep, but I had no clue how that thing would look or anything, so I didn't know what to look for. So I was just wearing the uniform and was staying in the middle of the open in a German uniform, and it was so cool. Yeah,
we pull into the driveway. We pull into the driveway, and I'm like, all right, let's text him that we're here. And then Michael goes, "Oh, I see Bernd." And I'm like, "Where?" He goes, I look over. I'm like, "Ah, fuck." He goes, "Yeah, he's wearing his whole uniform." Like, shit.
Not just the uniform, but like the belt, the Y straps, the MP40 magazine pouches.
Yep.
The boots with the gaiters, like, and you're just sitting there with your hands in your pockets, looking around while all these cars and stuff are passing by, and I'm just like, all right.
And I just looked at it. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
All right, let's just do this. And then
that was my first time seeing Bernd in person.
Yeah. People are driving past us, going, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
The highway. Well, shit.
Yeah, and it was great. And then we went out there and did that, and then we were out on the set, like we were going to be shooting the next day, and then we were like, okay, let's head back. And then Michael was like, well, I need some hose clamps for the blood apparatus.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, okay. And then I'm like, I don't know where the fuck to go. And then Jorg said, well, we go to Tyson's, a local hardware joint. Okay, yeah, let's do it. So Bernd and Burdett headed home to Wellsburg, and Michael and I and Jorg in separate vehicles went to Tyson's, and we go in there and get where the pipe clamps are, and we find them. It's like $3, right? It's like $3 for all these things that we need.
Yeah,
and
took 2 minutes to find.
Yep, and then we get up to the front, and then there's a guy that we didn't see when we walked in, sitting up there, and Jorg, as you're checking out, he goes, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" And whatever, and blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, blah, blah. And long story short, this guy was a former student of Jorg's, and he had a kind of a full beard, and he's like, "Yeah, we're shooting a trailer tomorrow." Yeah, Calvin, and we're shooting a trailer tomorrow and all that stuff. And he's like, "Oh, okay, right on." And it's like, "Yeah." And Jorg said, "Yeah, if you want to come out and be a part of it, that'd be great. And if you want to be, actually in it, like," I'm like, "Yeah, you got to shave your beard off. That'd be the only thing." He's like, "So shave it off completely?" I'm like, "Yeah, like my 5 o'clock shadow, which is not impressive. I'm like, that's about the most that you could have to make it look real." He goes, "Okay." And so we buy the things. We go back to Bernd and Jorg's house, or Bernd and Burdett's place, and we're all hanging out. And then Calvin, this kid that we met at Tyson's, starts blowing up Jorg's phone, like, "Okay, what do you need to know? Like, what size?" We were getting his sizes for like the uniforms and shit. And the next morning, we get out there, and Calvin shows up before anybody else, before the camera guys, and we're like, "Oh shit!" Because we went to the hotel, and then we went back to Bernd and Burdett's place, and we showed up, and Calvin shows up, and we're like, "Okay." Luckily, he's a very small guy. And all the stuff that Brian, he hasn't been on here yet. He's my fellow American advisor. All the stuff that he sent to us fit him. And so we got that on him, and it's like, okay, cool. We got the leggings on him, the boots. We got a pair of boots from Doug Strong.
Yeah, we didn't even know we had.
Right. It was like, oh shit, these are American boots. Excellent. And they fit him perfect. And it was like, okay, the only pair of American boots besides mine fit him. And so we get him kitted up, and then the camera guys show up, and they're talking, and everybody's talking, and blah, blah, blah. So we get kitted up, and then we head out to the farm where we're going to be doing some live fire for the trailer. because we're not going to be using blanks to shoot an M1. Like, no, sir. Mikey's involved. And so, this Mikey, the Mike friggin' B wearing flannel, it's like, no, we're going to do live rounds to make it look right. And then Michael's like, cool. So we go out there. We did that. Calvin was out there, had not ever shot an M1 or anything like that before. Gets right into it. Bam. We shot the scenes. Cool. In a cornfield in Iowa, and we still made it look great.
In the middle of nowhere, yeah.
In the middle of nowhere, literally the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And,
Cool. Yeah.
and it's so we got the safe shots because there was roads around houses, so we got safe lanes. Okay, so that was done. We went and had some fun fire. Got some really good sound effects because the camera guys also were sound guys, and they put out equipment to capture the sound of the rifles being fired, and then at the person's standpoint and at the receiving end standpoint, which is really cool. We had some fun just shooting for fun, and then we went and had lunch, and then we go out to the shooting site. All the while this is going on, while we're shooting and everything, Bernd is swearing in as an American citizen in Des Moines.
Wow.
It was a hell of a day.
It was, yeah, it actually was.
And so, Bernd, tell them about what happened when you guys got down there and how it worked out great.
Yeah, the point is, first we had to find the spot because they didn't do it in the building; they did it on a parking lot, and the description for that was very iffy. But we found it after about half an hour searching, so we found it. But we still were a good hour too early there, and however, they took us in the swearing-in ceremony 1 hour earlier, so we gained an hour time, which was very cool. What came in, I just had handed out my paperwork. They were just getting it. And the guy before us backed up and backed in Burdette's Cadillac. Now, that was one of these modern little Kia things. And Burdette's Cadillac is a 1989, I believe. So really one with this massive bumpers and all. And we looked, and Burdette's Cadillac was fine. And the pure Kia, the whole backside where he hit, that was just smashed. Yeah, so we didn't care. Our car was okay, so we just parked and then got to be sworn in and hit the road. So we gained a whole hour. That was just crazy, because we were under pressure to get up for the shoot. And I have to say, I did not imagine that my first day as an American would be so much hard work. I really must tell you, it was incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was going right from American citizen and then movie star, like immediately.
Yeah, not quite before that, because somebody had asked here in the site. Before that, I hit at the Quick Star again. You see, I make advertising for a gas company in Iowa. I stopped there and shaved off my mustache because I had to keep that, because that was on my biometrics. And for the swearing in, I had to look identical. So I stopped on a Quick Star, shaved off my mustache, hit the car again, and then for Iowa Falls in order to meet you there for the shoot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank God you had that trimmer with you, because
someone else needed it.
So yeah, because we were Michael and I and the rest of the crew were Jorg was there. We were at the shooting site in Iowa Falls. And we were like, okay, well, we've got one guy that's got a German kit together and we're good to go. Okay, so we got 2 Germans, 2 Americans. Okay, we're going to have to make this work. All right. And all of a sudden, Steve showed up, the third camera guy, with 2 students. And the one was holding the camera and the other guy was just kind of like their assistant. And Michael's like, this guy looks like Halbrock, one of the characters in the film. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, I think I'm just gonna, and then he just walks away, and then he just like goes, all right, so this guy's gonna play Halbrock, get him kitted out, and I was like, all right, so I was like, here, try this tunic on, and everything. We got him kitted out to be just a basic German infantry guy or a Panzer Grenadier, and this guy's like 18 years old in real life, and he looks the part of the character, and all of a sudden I'm like, well, your sideburns are a little bit far down. And then I was like, wait a second. Bernd has his mustache trimmer, the electric ones. And I was like, are you okay with having your sideburns shaved just like to here? He goes, yep, absolutely. I'm like, come here, let's go. And so we were just sitting there, and I just shaved his sideburns off nice and even, good to go. And I was like, excellent. I'm so glad you had this. And then we were like, okay, so we have 3 Germans and 2 Americans. All right, we can work with this. And then about 20 students walked down from Jorg and like his contacts at other schools. 20 students come pouring down the steps, and I'm like, oh shit. And then Michael came over to me. He goes, can you outfit some more Germans? And I'm like, yeah, I can. He goes, good, do it. And then he walks away and does his thing. And I'm like, okay. So I'm looking through all these people, and I'm like, okay, I think we have uniforms for, I'm like, you, come here. You want to be in this? Yep. Excellent. Got him kitted up. Bam. And then there was one other guy that had, no, it was him. He had sideburns as well. And I'm like, okay, so first thing is first, the sideburns got to go. He's like, fine. I'm like, cool, come over here. It's like Bernd's little mustache shaver came in very handy to shave off these guys' sideburns. Yeah. And it was like, okay, bam, it's done. It looks better. All right, cool. Got him kitted out, had things that fit, which was miraculous. Okay, go. All right, next guy. You, come here. All right, you want to be in this? Yep. Okay, cool. Here's a tunic. Try that on. And like all the gear. And so we got these guys like on average, like for 15 minutes it took. We got these guys outfitted in complete German, like basic infantry kits or Panzergrenadier kits. And these guys, and we explained it to him, like how you hold your rifle. And then Riley, one of the guys that was a reenactor that was there, as a friend of Jorg's, he was there in the morning, not doing any like acting, but he was there doing acting in the second part, also a reenactor. And he would take the guys, he's like, all right, let's go down to the creek. And he got them all dirty and muddy, rub mud all over where it needed to be to make it look real. So that was a weight off my shoulders. And so it all just worked out really great. And then while we were doing that, the media showed up.
Yeah, that was fun.
And it was like, well, we can't talk to you right now.
By the time you were done, like
what?
Shit. Did you have half of Iowa there by the time you were done? Like,
it was a lot of people. It was a big thing.
It was a lot of people, yeah. And so we're like, we can't talk right now, but we gotta go shoot. And so we did. And then Michael, take it from there. The first shot, like when we walked down the canyon.
Yeah. So we eventually after all this whole thing coming together, and like it was just growing, and more people were just showing up to it. And eventually, there was a bunch of cars there, and it was like a ton of people. So eventually, I had to like get up on a rock and say, "Okay, everybody, like come in here and everything." And the thing that was cool is that my 3 camera guys, there were so many people that showed up that wanted to help that I said to 3 of the camera guys, "Okay, you guys pick out 2 people that are going to be your assistants." And they said, okay, and they grabbed guys, and of course they were all willing to help. So it turned into this, big organized production because of that. But then we went down. I got up, made an announcement, what's going on. I gave people certain jobs. The ladies had control over the blood stuff, which was cool. And then we went into. I said, okay, we're going into the canyon. So we went into the canyon. I said, we're doing this all, basically in order of my shot list in the script. So it's not like we're going to go film the last scene, then come back and do the first one. We're doing the first to the last. So yeah, we went down to the canyon, organized the Germans. Bernd though was like, before he's like, when we're ready to go, let me know, because I'm going to take my squad down into the canyon and get them basically ready. And I didn't even ask him what he was going to do. I said, okay, go for it, And so whatever happened then, however you talk to them, Bernd, that's between you and them. So they went down there and they were ready, and they said, okay, we'll be ready when you come down there. I said, okay. So I, get everyone ready, and we all had to walk in this like line, because not only is it like a little, canyon that goes through there, it's extremely narrow, and it's just rocks and water, and that's it.
Loose rocks,
yeah. And it was funny because some of the girls were like wearing flip-flops and everything, and I was like, oh, this is, yeah. But they were troopers. They did it.
Yep.
And so we all had to walk in this organized line to get down deep into this canyon area. And the Germans are down there. Bernd is down there, and he has everyone basically in formation. We set up for the first shot, and that's when it all started, except for the stuff we filmed in the morning. But that's when it all really started to come to life. And I had a 3-camera setup at that point, filming these guys going down this little canyon area. And it was so great because, you know, I've seen so much with very low budget stuff that, of course, you guys have seen it too, where it's like low budget World War II movies, and you always get Germans who are, or, you know, extras who are like this sort of thing, and they just don't look right. They don't look like soldiers. They just don't look like they're prepared. These guys, I mean, we showed them how to carry the weapons and everything like that, and the way they were walking in formation and looking around, because it was high ground on both sides, it was like, it just looked perfect. You know, it looked authentic, and
weird,
we weren't going to do it. Yeah, we weren't going to do it if it didn't look right. And it looked right, and it just looked great. And yeah, that was from there. That was a lot of fun. So then we went and did all the crazy shit after that, which was the blood and everything, which we can get into. But just going back real quick, I wanted to mention because we were kind of in a dilemma here. Everyone watching this, if you're regular viewers, you probably haven't heard us talk about doing a teaser trailer, because this was extremely last minute. We were having a meeting, and we were talking about different ways to really get people noticing this whole thing. We said, well, we got to give them something to see. You know, concept art is great, but something actually like alive and breathing is what we want. So Yale, our producer, was like, well, we need to make a teaser. And then we were like, well,
and Myra said that too. She was actually the first one.
Yeah,
she's
Myra.
Like, gotta make it.
Yep. Myra, one of our other producers, was like, got to do the teaser. And I'm like, oh, it's a lot of shit to do and everything. Yep. and then it just dawned on us. We were like, well, we're gonna go to see Bernd and Jorg for Bernd's introduction into being a U.S. citizen.
His patriotization.
Why don't we just do it then? What's that?
His patriotization.
Right. Yeah. Why don't we just do it then? So that night that we said that, which was maybe like,
it was 10 days before we actually shot.
Yeah, it was 10 days away. Oh, we were like, okay, we'll do it. And then within those 10 days, it was just pulling all these fucking resources together.
It was insane.
Unbelievable. Our living room became a storage unit.
Yeah.
One wall was just full. There were packages arriving from all over America, supporting us with gear and with I don't know what all was in these boxes, because I left that to you guys. And after, but it was unbelievable. Yeah, it just poured in every day. We had boxes to carry from the post office to home, and it was just unbelievable. Yeah, that all came together, and the fact that at the end we had exactly what we needed. That's one thing I still cannot wrap. Yeah, so how that came together and that we had everything we needed was there. Unbelievable. Yeah, it was just wow.
Yeah. Well, and then because like the night before, because Mike and I, we got there, and then the next day we're doing this. It wasn't like we had a day to rest and hang out and everything.
No,
it was like,
we sat there and talked in the hotel room for a couple hours, and it's like, well, let's go to sleep. Let's just
That's it. But yeah, the night before, we were in Bernd's house, with Jorg and Burdette, and we got all these boxes that Brian sent stuff, and Sam sent stuff. I mean, it was just big thing, and Mike and I are running around like, okay, this goes with this was the and like it's so funny because I was trying to organize folders and stuff, and like Bernd is like, so Michael, this is gonna be amazing. I'm like, yeah, amazing. And
you're just like, yep.
Yep. Like, I was trying to go through the gear, and Burdette, who I know beforehand, he's like, yeah, so did you ever hear? And I'm like, yeah, I cannot multitask, but I'll try. And I'm going through this shit and like trying to have a conversation with Burdette, who I haven't seen in a while. And it's like, okay, yep, this, and I'm like, Michael, we're good, we got this. Yep, all right, cool. And it was just like chaotic, and it was fun. And then Jorg made pork steaks with German seasoning. Oh fuck, those were amazing.
That was good stuff. Oh, and
that was amazing. Yeah, that's Blitz.
Yep, you got that right, Mike. You got that right.
Yep.
Blitz, you're a movie star now. Yeah. Yeah. No, look. Yeah. So
there are multiple cats. There are multiple cats raised my morale that night because I love cats.
Yes. Yeah, cats are. Yeah, they got 4 cats, and it's really cool. And it just, we got through that night, and then and then we go back to the hotel, and then we met Myra. She got in late. She had to drive from Des Moines, and so we met Myra at like 11 or 11:30 at night, and it was like, okay, cool. All right, here's the schedule for tomorrow. We'll see you at 8 in the morning. Cool. And that hotel had really good breakfast. That was a great hotel. I actually had to leave a review because it was so good to get up and Michael had waffles. They had the waffle maker.
Oh, the continental breakfast.
Yeah, but they had eggs and sausage, and then I was like, oh, I wish they had ketchup. And then I rifled through some drawers, and I got lucky on the second one. I pulled it open, and it's like there's ketchup right there. A big thing. And so we're just stuffing our faces, eating really fast. We got out by 8. We were up at that, and that whole day started with Calvin and everything, doing that. And
well, the thing was that too, we had 3 camera guys. The reason what I was going to say was that this was so last minute that one of the things that we were really worried about and kind of had to really fish around for were the camera was the film equipment, because in LA, I mean, that's
it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere. You can get easy, but in the middle of bumfuck Iowa, it was just what the fuck should we, what can we do? So thankfully, Jorg knows everybody, and he had a bunch of students who had all this film equipment, and we had a couple things happen where some people came in and dropped out. It's understandable, it happens, but we eventually got 3 people, and it was just okay, this is great. And they had stellar equipment, and I will say all 3 of them are really freaking good. I want them to actually come out to LA for November if possible.
Yeah, and it was funny because I thought, I was telling you this at the end of the night of the shooting, I thought that all of them knew each other beforehand.
Yeah,
because they're from the same area. That was not the case.
No.
It was just they worked so well together that it was these guys have been working together for 10 years at least, because it flowed. Everything was so easy.
They just knew.
Excellent. But it was just people that came together from all different areas, and it was wow. In the middle of Iowa, we found this good of a camera crew.
Oh yeah, no, and well, the thing was, because Jorg knew Grant. Yeah, Grant and Steve. He knew those 2 guys.
Yes.
I actually found Kevin on Facebook through a Iowa filmmakers ad that I posted the night that we really needed someone.
Right.
And that's how I got in touch with Grant. But then when they showed up, it was just they just knew what to do. The funny thing was go ahead, Mike.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I was just saying the funny thing was that because I was briefing them all, a couple days before we were going to be there. So okay, we're going to be doing this. This is what this is all about. And I mentioned that we're going to be, shooting live rounds on camera and stuff. And Kevin especially was like, "Hey, that's awesome," So he was like, "Okay, sweet." And so when we showed up to do it, though, I'd have to ask him. But I don't think Kevin has ever been around gunfire before.
Yeah,
right. Because you also and that should have been something that I should have been on top of, but we were so into it. So Kevin is got an angle about 90% down the M1, on the stacking swivel. That's where his shot is. That's where he's at, right? And he's down, and there's a dirt road that we're shooting across into the corn and into the woods. Okay, and so we're doing. He's got a great shot, and he's sitting there, and all of a sudden they're sound rolling, cameras rolling, safety's off. Action. I fired the first round, and Kevin just went, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah.
From the concussion of the gun. He didn't recognize it was going to be there, but he was like a trooper. He just kind of jumped, and he just went, after every shot. And then we got done with that shot.
Or did he just jump that bad?
No, the shockwave. He wasn't expecting that, and
so
he was at the business end at that point.
Yeah,
he was
he was sitting Mike was prone, laying on the ground with his elbow in the dirt, and Kevin was it's
probably about 5 feet.
Yeah, he was right next to the muzzle, filming the side of Mike, and he was facing me because I was right behind Mike, so he was facing if Mike was over here, he was shooting the camera with him, and the rifle's right here, and he's shooting, and then we all had ear pro in, he's filming an action, and then just Mike is bam, 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 just starts like shooting. And Kevin, he was like.
And then we got double shot, and then you went over to Kevin, and you're like, everything okay? He's like, yeah, I just wasn't expecting that. Okay, so what the concussion, like it's not the sound or whatever, it's the concussion, and it's like, and I went, oh fuck, yeah, you're right there, like you're right where the concussion zone is. And that's M1's a big rifle, like that's got a lot of sound to it.
It's got to have all that energy to move that bolt backwards.
Well, and it was kicking up a lot of dust and gravel, you know. And I'm like, shit, I should have had glasses on him. Like I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
And I told Kevin that, and he's like, well, whatever, it worked out fine. But he was like, yeah, it just caught me by surprise. But the rest of it, when he was expecting it and he knew what was going on, he was just like fucking right there. It didn't phase him the rest of the time. It was just, but it was like because I was just shooting, right? And I was making sure I was shooting into a safe area. That was my thing. And then, Kevin's sitting there afterwards like, what the fuck? And then Mike's like, are you okay? I'm like, oh, did I hit him? What the fuck happened? And then he's like, oh, just the concussion, man.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was so funny because he held the camera like perfectly still, but like everything was just like
the shots, like you can't tell on the camera. You can't tell that he's flinching at all because he held it so still. He's just
Oh god.
And but yeah, that was funny. But like, yeah, it was like, oh shit. And then but for the rest of the time, like, yeah, it was just great. And then we ended up shooting. After we got all the shots done that we needed to get done, we went up and shot some fun shots, and it was pretty cool. Like. Yeah, it was very fun.
You didn't let anybody get Garand thumb, did you?
I mean, nobody got it.
Nobody got Garand thumb.
Yeah, I mean,
I must say the camera guys were just awesome. So throughout
they were so good, so good
throughout the whole thing. They did a fantastic job. What I saw on the footage, and I didn't even recognize them. Yeah, that was unbelievable. Yeah, they were really.
Yep.
They were really good. So really good.
Yeah. Yep, and they're super cool guys, easy to work with, and they made it the whole day, which was a long day.
Yeah.
They were there until They were there until it was pitch black.
Pitch black.
Yeah, they did, from the beginning to the end. They did nobody else did except of Michael and Mike. I wasn't there for the first part, and then for the last shot, I didn't have to be there anymore. They did it all, so unbelievable with carrying their equipment and doing excellent shoots, and wow.
Well, they were so into it too. They were so into it, like.
Oh yeah, they like everybody of us who was on that set. It was just flowing into each other, and it was unbelievable. Yeah, so it was wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
It was great.
And the weather was nice. Good thing you weren't doing it in August.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was still really hot. It was really sticky that day. It was really sticky. Yeah, my fat ass was sweating when I was wearing the M41 in the cornfield.
Mike. It was very simple. If you know Iowa, you would have done what I have done. I walked in the water, and I think it's the second shoot. I got my boots submerged, and from there on, the rest of the day, I had wet, cold feet, which really kept me going all day long.
Yeah. I'd rather be a fat, sweating pig than have wet feet. Let's just put it that way.
Nothing quite keeps you going like trench foot.
Yeah.
Oh my!
I'll take that. But no, the weather was actually good though. It was actually a really mild day. There was a breeze until there wasn't in the canyon.
Until
and
there wasn't, it gets miserable. Yeah.
Yep. And no, it was actually a great day. And as hard a work as it was, everybody came together. Everybody did a great job. You could not have asked for a better shoot for the trailer. And so now that people are like, oh, I don't want to hear about the movie. So while Michael's here, can I announce the trailer tomorrow? Are we on time?
Yeah, absolutely. Right after I'm getting off.
We can't talk about a trailer for the better part of an hour and then just be like, fuckity bye.
Well, I don't give a fuck. I'll do it. I'll just say goodbye.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. So at we were planning this He's been editing with his friend the entire week this trailer to get it as good quality as the film's going to be. Because he could have had it done in 3 days, but it's like, well, let's make it better.
That's not who we are. We are not.
No,
going
it's get it right, and
yeah.
in a very small amount of time. Again, trailers take months to produce and edit and all that shit. So tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, I'm going to be doing a premiere on my channel. We're going to be releasing it on Michael's channel and my channel. I'll have the premiere because a lot of you guys know about this because we've been talking about this. We're going to be doing a premiere of the trailer, the final cut of the trailer. What is the trailer? On YouTube tomorrow morning. We're going to get your reactions and all that stuff on there. You can chat and do all that stuff. We'll watch it all together. And that'll be at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, U.S. So if you're in Mountain Time like Michael is, that's 9 a.m. Pacific Time is 8 a.m. European Time, if you're watching this from Europe, you're going to have to figure that out. But it's give or take about 7 or 8 hours. But just Google that and be like, okay, the conversion. We're going to be releasing it at 10 a.m. tomorrow, the trailer, finally. And you're going to see...
my date to not be working that second so I could watch it.
Well, that's good.
That's right. So I could be there to watch it. I have to make sure I'm doing nothing important.
Well, then make sure you do nothing
important.
It
will be just mind-blowing. That's what I can promise you guys. It will be mind-blowing.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's just a trailer, too. This was just what we scraped up, with the resources we had available. So, that tells you something.
And it's really good.
The little I have seen so far, it's just mind-blowing. Yeah, that's all I can say to it. I don't even know how to describe this differently. I have never seen something like that regarding to a war movie. That's straightforward, I'm saying that. And that's why I'm saying it will be mind-blowing. It's something in that way you have not seen yet. You will be surprised.
Yes.
Positively surprised. That's all I can say to that.
Yeah. No, I'm super proud of it, and I really think that this, because like I said, concept art is cool and all, but like this is really going to show what
this is a piece of the actual product.
Yeah, and it's great, and we that'll be tomorrow morning. But we didn't talk about. Should we talk about the blood, or should we just leave that to the imagination?
I think we should leave that to the imagination.
Yeah.
And see what people say about that. Then we can talk about it on a future stream.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
I just can say, when you ask blood, I can just say that stuff was a sticky mess.
It was like real blood.
Yeah, it was.
It's actually still fermenting in the garage. That shit does ferment.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is there's going to be blood wine? ?
Okay, and then
I don't know if it's gonna be wine. I don't. I might have to distill it. But
that's wine. Blood wine. Let's do it.
Blood wine. It's definitely. It's definitely fermenting. It's fun.
Oh god, that's gonna stink so bad. I bet.
It smells like chocolate.
It's super hot. So I mean,
it smells like chocolate.
Yeah, it does. It smells like chocolate and nastiness.
Yeah.
Nastiness.
And
yeah, it does. It smells like chocolate and nastiness. It's not great, not pleasant, and it So
it's made of it's made of pastel paint and corn syrup, pastel paint, and chocolate powder. So that's why it smells like that.
Oh
yeah,
it's chocolate pudding and paint. Cool.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, it's better that the thing was that we were adamant that we were not going to create the transparent,
translucent shit,
translucent movie shit. Blood, that jelly type looking stuff that you always see, because as we know, like the blood's it's opaque, So we had to do that, and it also had to be blood that would wash out, because a lot of fake movie blood and all that stuff uses food coloring, which stains.
Right.
And we couldn't do that with this. So because these uniforms, we need to have them fresh for November. So yeah, this we had to use something that would come out of clothes.
Yeah, it also
uniforms.
So Devin, it looks like a cross between venous and arterial blood.
Okay, that's better.
It's
yeah.
It's really and it feels. Ugh. So I had to get it on my hands a lot, and Bernd also had it on his. You'll see it in the trailer. That's why we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it more in detail later about our reactions, which you kind of might have seen.
Yeah,
it's good. It was good. It works, and the way that it was delivered was
what
good.
You were telling me about it, I was like,
It was.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's that, and then Michael, what else?
What else?
One thing there's one thing I want to mention a little bit. When we did the last scene, and that's just for the guys to tease a little bit, it got actually physical between Mike and that is creating something very, very special, what you do not see in normal movies. That's just, I just put this here out. You will see it in the trailer, but there is something you will see you do not see in normal movies. That I can promise. It's breathtaking,
So Devin, what was your question?
I loved it. I actually loved it, because of this intense moment we had there. That was really wow. Yeah.
With all the shooting and everything, okay, and all this like miraculous stars aligning and everything to get all this stuff to come together, what's one thing that maybe didn't go super well or you wish went better? So
it's a great question.
Because we can't just get to this plateau and not have a cliff.
No, there's one thing I could bring up, and when I locked Mike's keys in his Jeep.
Oh shit! Yeah, because there's like very few people watching. Yeah, so we were out there doing the morning shoots, like the actual shooting, and then the shooting with the M1s, and we were about ready to start filming. And I was like, "Oh, we need the grenades, like the mock grenades, out of the car." And a couple other things. I need some water or whatever. And I go over there and I see Michael like storming towards me down the gravel road. And I'm like, what? And he goes, I just fucked us. And I'm like, okay, what happened? He goes, I just locked your fucking keys in your Jeep. Because I had asked him to go down and get the Jeep because I didn't want to walk down there and all my shit. And he wasn't wearing shit. He was wearing his hipster uniform, which is a lot lighter. And he could drive a manual, which I was like, yeah, just here's the keys, go down there and just drive it down here so it's closer. And so he locks the fucking keys in my Jeep. And I'm like, oh, God damn. Like, that's not good. And I'm like, fuck. And then as they're walking back, I'm like, are you fucking okay? And he goes, well, you have that window that the motor is broken on that you have held up with duct tape, right? And I was like, yes, I do. And he goes, all right. So we put a screwdriver in there and we're trying to like pry the window down, and I have a knife and I'm like going to try to cut the duct tape, and break in and get the keys on shit. Well, I try to pry down with the screwdriver and it starts chipping the shit out of the top of my window. And I'm like, God damn it. I'm like, fuck. And I'm trying to be very careful. And I'm like, I just need to get it down. No. And I'm like trying to get it down just far enough to put the knife in there, but it's not past the weather seal.
Oh,
it's just not going down far enough. And I'm like, fuck. And then Jorg comes from Bernd's van from his pawn business, and he has a chisel, and he goes, will this work better? And it's a wide chisel. And I'm like, yep. And I grab that thing and I'm like, this will distribute the weight or the pressure a lot better. I jam that fucker in there and I'm just like, okay, no chipping. And it took a little bit and I just went, cut the duct tape. The window fell. I fucking got the door open, grabbed the keys, and we were in there. And it was like, what are the odds that I have a bum window that I don't want to get repaired because it costs too much and it's stuck? And we were just talking. Yeah, exactly. Michael, go ahead.
The funny thing is that so when Mike picked me up at the airport, we had a lot of driving ahead of us, so we're just talking about random shit for like 5 hours and maybe 3 hours or something like that. But at one point, he mentions like, I don't know if I noticed it or if he just pointed it out.
You noticed it, yeah.
I noticed it. I'm like, oh, you got duct tape on the window back here, right next to me. and behind me, and he's like, "Oh yeah, well that window's busted, so they want to fix it, so I just put it up, and then I put duct tape over it, so that window's broken." Yeah, and I'm just like, "Oh, it was like a foreshadowing moment in a movie, you know." And so yeah, then I was like, "Oh, okay, well that's interesting, you know." Oh, okay, yeah, and then the next day, I'm just like, I shut the door because I thought that like you'd have the way that I clicked the thing to unlock the doors. I thought it was one way, but it turns out it was to lock it. I thought it was so I clicked it because Mike said leave the keys on my dash when you're done, which I did. Yep. And then I just went bam, and then when I said wait a second, and then I tried to. I'm like, I just fucked the entire day, and then like a second later, I was like, that window. It was still frustrating. I mean, I was still worried though because like I didn't know if we were going to be able to do that. What we did, you know, I was like, okay, but so then Mike was walking up. I'm like, dude, and then it was just he had his M1 helmet. He just threw it on the ground and just walked out.
I was like, God damn it! Yeah. Like, you're fucking kidding me.
My Holden, my friend Holden, I was telling him about it, and he said, "Oh, I bet he gave you shit about it." And I said, "We didn't have time to give each other." Well, yeah, he did later, but like he didn't have time to give me shit. Like we were.
I was just like, fuck, and I'm like, okay, let's just get this done. Like, let's just figure this out, and you know, and whatever. It was just like, really, out of everything, you did what I did when I first got the thing, and I had to go back and get the second key fob and like unlock it, like. Because usually when you hit up on the unlock thing, it unlocks. Well, when you do that on this, it's like reverse and it's like weird. But it was like
that's the only thing I can think of that was like a real like hiccup. I don't say it didn't fuck the day, but that was the one thing that was kind of like, okay, wait a minute.
Well, here's the thing: is we would have had to call the sheriff, which has been fine. Like they would have come out there, not charged us anything, but it would have taken an hour.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like it would have taken time, and it's like we didn't have time at that point. We had to because we were already running late for reasons, but like we were running late a bit, and it's like we didn't have that hour to spend, and it's just like, you know what, fuck it. And then it was funny because we when we drove back, after that shoot. We're driving back, and the whole inside of the vehicle was coated with the chalky quartz fucking powder. And because we got back to Bernd's place, and I just went.
Oh, because the window's open now. So
and it was just there was chalk and shit down these dirt roads. Like it's really cloudy, and we had 3 vehicles in front of us, so it kicked it up, and I just went, oh, fuck. And it was a fun time. But I mean, we could have been fucked if I wasn't lazy and didn't want to pay for that window to be repaired.
Yeah.
But no, we got it open, and it was like after it was open, I'm like, okay, it's open. All right, let's fucking go. And it was like nothing happened. It was just like, I'm gonna be shit for this later, motherfucker. But hey, right now, let's just get it done.
Oh, I knew it too. But at the time,
I just love it. You walk up to me, you go, I just fucked us, and I'm like, It's always fun to hear that when you're walking up to somebody that's in charge of what you're doing, and they go, I just fucked us, and you're like, oh boy.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least that wasn't so bad. I mean, like you said, nobody got hurt. If that's the worst part of the day is Mike's window broke, I mean, whatever.
Yeah, and like, well, so we get to the this is fun too. We get to the shooting scene, right, and or the park in Iowa Falls where the canyon is, and we're all in a huge convoy from Iowa Falls. We had lunch at a Quick Star. I call it Quick Trip, but I was explained why it's called Quick Star, not Quick Trip. Blah 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 blah. Same food, same everything, but whatever.
What's the difference? So we get.
I'll tell you off. But so we get to the park, which was supposed to be unlocked. The gate, like they knew we were coming, supposed to be unlocked the gate, and all of a sudden we stop, and Jorg gets out and looks at the gate for a bit, and I'm like, uh-oh. He's like 3 cars ahead of us, and he starts walking forward. He goes to the gate, and it's not opening for a bit, and I'm like, oh, are you really? That's not good. And I'm just like, Michael's like, what's going on? And I'm like, just hold on. Like, just hold on for a second. And all of a sudden, I see the gate move, and then one swings open, and I'm like,
We're
I
good.
thought the gate was locked and Jorg was going to be like, oh shit, and we had to get somebody down there for time. So
I told him. Go
One
ahead.
thing I have to mention here, in this short notice and all, the city of Iowa Falls
Yes.
really made that happen for us to get us free
Yep.
access to that area, that we could drive in and all. That was amazing. That a city, usually, bureaucracy and all that crap, that all was waived. Yeah, the sheriff's
it was great.
was supporting us, that we were safe down there, that we didn't get bothered by some people or anything like that. It was amazing what they pulled off on that short notice.
It was just funny though that like we pulled up and we didn't like because the lock was on there. Jorg said the lock was on there, but it wasn't locked. And Jorg even went, oh shit. Like we don't want to have to like throw all this gear over the fence and like get in there. But he went out and he got it. We saw that gate open. We were like, okay, those are the only two things that were like really kind of like asshole puckering that day. And then it was like, okay, it's good. It worked out. Then we went in there and it was flawless after that. It was really good.
Yeah, well, I think we were for being so short notice, we were pretty damn prepared when it came to everything. And,
everybody. Jorg really did a great job at getting all the students prepared, all the things in Iowa Falls, the permits, just knowing that we were going to be there. The sheriff, like we were going to be out shooting guns, live rounds, and all that shit. Jorg was the logistical fucking genius of this whole thing. Like he was behind the scenes, and then on set he did the great. So Jorg, he really. Everybody did their part. Jorg, it would not have been possible without Jorg, you showing up, Myra showing up, Bernd showing up. It was just like it worked out. Thank Christ, it worked out. But it was one of those things that like, we have 10 days to pull this together. That usually takes months to do. Let's get it done. And then in the middle of Iowa, we find a place that looks exactly like Italy.
Yeah,
where the film takes place. Like, who would have thought?
Yeah, I know it was the rocks and everything were great. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, the color of the rocks matches 100%. Unbelievable. Yeah.
I mean, once you guys see this trailer, it's going to be like, damn, that's Italy.
Yeah, it's insane. And then in the middle of Iowa, because like we were driving and Michael and I are both making fun of the cornfields, and I'm like, well, it's true. Like I've been down here. I'm like, this is a fucking barren wasteland. I don't like coming down here. It's a hellscape, and it's like I feel more dead every time I come down to Iowa. And then we get to Iowa Falls, and it's like, well, this looks like home. It looks like where I live.
Cool.
It's like, and then we go and like we're in town, and it's like, okay, well, okay, cool. We went and recon the place, and then we're driving to your place. It's like, oh, more hellscape cornfields and windmills. Holy shit.
Windmills and cornfields.
Yeah, and it is. It's fields. It's produce fields.
I remember.
Welcome to the Corn Belt. This is where all the corn syrup comes from.
I remember you came from Minnesota. And you hit the casino area, and you texted me, and I texted you back, and I said, "Be careful. If you are not from Iowa, sometimes the soybeans are trying to jump you." I texted you.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember. I
assume you were
of course
afraid around for jumping beans.
No, and here's the thing: is like I honestly like we went through Albert Lee in southern Minnesota. I said, we've got about another probably 2 hours before, because I haven't driven that route in about 10 years. And I was like, we got about another 2 hours. And then all of a sudden, I was like, wait a second, the casino, that's like on 35, like that's Iowa. And all of a sudden it's like I put out to Michael, I'm like, oh, we're in Iowa now. Like, oh shit, we're actually way ahead of what I thought we were gonna. Okay. So we stopped there at a gas station. I took a massive piss, and we got some jerky and stuff and food and whatever. And then we're like, we're here. And then you're like, you sent that, and I was like, whatever. Fuck it. Who cares? And then it was corn, and then corn, and then corn, and then windmills, and then corn, and then corn, and then corn. And then corn, and then we took a left turn, and it was more corn.
Beans.
No, it was all corn. All corn.
Beans.
All corn. All corn. This time, this year.
And wind turbines.
Yep, this year it was all corn.
Mm.
I didn't see one soybean field.
They're not as subsidized as corn is.
Well, no, they rotated the crops this year, and they're all just because it was all fucking corn. It was all corn this year. As far as the eye could see, like we're driving and I was like, I'm sitting there bitching about it, kind of like half joking, but like half not. And then Michael's like, oh my God, like I've never seen so much corn in my fucking life.
It's an ocean.
Yeah.
Just an ocean of corn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
literally.
Oh yeah.
So,
And you can get lost in it. You can get lost in it. It's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
think there's
corn.
a horror movie about that.
Yeah, it's something to do
There
with
is
children
yeah.
and children of the corn, something like that.
Children
Yeah,
of
yeah,
corn.
something like that. Yeah, yeah. I know that one.
Malachi!
I don't know how they don't get hit by a combine when fall comes, but like.
Children of the corn resists.
Yeah, some farmer just mulches a child off. Oh god.
Oh, this is interesting. Let's see, Luke Schutzel sent me a friend request.
Oh!
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, I'll accept it. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything. I'll accept it.
No.
The plot
interesting.
thickens.
Just
The
be like,
plot
I'm a big
thickens.
fan. That's all you
Yeah,
gotta
I'm a big fan.
I'm a big fan. I'm going to emulate all your works because they're so good.
Well, on that note, I'm going to go finalize the trailer, and then
Yes, you do
so,
that.
yeah,
You do that.
it'll be up at 10 tomorrow. So stay tuned, everybody.
We will. Thank you,
Hurry
Michael.
up.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Hurry up.
Look at that.
Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Schützle
glad that
sent
was
him
the
a
worst thing
friend
that
request.
happened, Mike, when you broke your car window again.
Oh, okay.
When did I break my car window with you?
No, it was broken. Then you cut your tape, so you have to retape it.
Oh, I already did it. It's not. I taped it so great. Like we made it down to fucking Iowa, and it didn't come loose once. And now I retaped it, and it's coming loose all the time. It's
Well,
like,
at least you got it running. I mean, for how long has it been sitting there? You know, so
yeah. And I told you what it was, right?
yeah.
You know that.
It's so dumb. Just need a new battery.
Really, that's all it was. You just had to drop a new battery in it. Wow.
Yeah.
Like people were like, oh, it's all these electrical problems, and it turns out I just needed a battery.
Well, it was an electrical problem. Like, to be fair, it was an electrical problem.
That's
Like,
fair. I mean, yeah, if you don't have any electricity, you have electrical problems.
no,
That
so
is-
I threw a new battery. I
Oh,
bought a good battery.
Devin, there I have to correct you. If you don't have any electricity, you don't have electrical problems. Because if there is no electricity, you cannot have an electrical problem.
Unless you need electricity.
Yeah, but
That's a
then
problem.
that's not an electrical problem. That's an intellectual problem.
That's fair. Okay,
Ooh.
fair.
Hey, get you.
You just got owned by a crowd. That's not
That's
good.
fine. Hey, I'm not the one that said my car was having electrical problems and it was just a battery.
You're right. You're not. And it was just a battery, and I dropped a new battery in
How
there.
many
And
times did you mow around that thing being like, this hunk of shit?
A lot,
and it just
a
needed
lot.
battery? So,
yeah, a lot. And I'm like, this fucking thing, I just don't want to get taken in because it's gonna be like $2,500. It was like $250 for a new battery. A
Yeah,
good one.
and well, you got a nice battery too.
Yeah, I got one
If
that's
you
like,
spent that much on a battery, I mean, that's a nice.
it's
battery.
7 years, 7 to 10 years.
Yeah,
The one I had before was 2.5. It lasted,
yeah,
and then just died. It's like, what the fuck are we doing?
yeah. I spent
know?
good money on getting a nice one because then if it goes bad, which it will, they always do.
Yeah.
But like it says, like a 7-year warranty, and if it starts to not hold as much of a charge by like 6 years, they just give you another one.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like, yeah, it's fine now, and it worked great. I got down there. I just that Jeep's got almost 180,000 miles on it now.
ooh,
So I'll just use it for around here driving. You know what I mean?
yeah, fair. You no more
It's,
cross country trips with it.
Yeah, not really. I mean, like going down to Iowa, it did fine. It worked and everything, but it's a 2007.
You
You
can
know,
tell
so
that it's
it's
kind of
not.
like on its last legs, kind of.
Well, and I like it because it's a fucking 6-speed. You know, it's like it's a manual, and like you get a lot more control over it when you're driving it. And it was the people that got it originally had to custom order that, and it's like, well, I didn't have to, and so I got a good deal on it, and yeah, it's a really cool thing. And then that's the funny thing, like when Michael drove that before he locked my fucking keys in there, I was telling him, I'm like, it's the size of a car clutch, right? So it's very small, but it acts like a truck clutch. It's very heavy. Like when you release it, you have to give it gas.
That would like
And
freak me out sitting in there.
so Michael
Yeah.
killed it immediately. And he's been
Yep.
driving manuals as long as I have. He's like, yeah, I killed the thing immediately. Like it was just because I didn't give it enough gas. And I'm like, yeah, that's what happens. And so, yeah, it's a weird thing. But once you get used to it, I killed it the first time too when I was driving it.
Yep.
I was like, I'm going in reverse and I'm in the parking lot. I got to let it out like a car clutch, which I've been driving for the past 4 years. And I just, I'm like, fuck. And the guy goes, he been driving manuals long? I'm like, yeah, since I've been driving. So about 10 years. I'm like, we're good. So I started again and I'm like, I give it a bunch of gas and then it was fine. And I'm like, holy shit, this is a truck clutch in this Jeep. Like, it's a truck clutch. Like, holy fuck. And so I just started giving it more gas and like, it was fine. And it's just weird how that clutch is designed in that sport, the Jeep Liberty Sport, that it feels like a car clutch because it's not that heavy, but then you have to give it gas and then. But yeah, it's a great Jeep. I like that thing.
You gonna replace it with another Jeep?
We'll see.
Gonna get like a Kia or something?
I still like manuals though, because in the winter, when you're spinning out, you can downshift without having to brake, and it'll stop the spin. That's because I've been in that situation many times where I'm like spinning out like it's shit. I'm like going in the ditch. You downshift and your tires end up grabbing it because it lowers the RPMs. You can't do that with a manual or an automatic. You can't do that. You have to just let off the gas and whatever. But with a manual, you can, if you're in a spin, you just do that and then, okay, slow down. Okay, we'll go. And so it's like, that's why if I didn't live in the place where the winters were this bad and this drastic and they lasted this long, I'd probably just go for an automatic. But like, I like the manual because you have so much control over that kind of thing. And that's a big deal in the winter. It's a big deal in the winter.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, Bernd gets it. It's like,
I mean, in Germany, 95% of cars are manuals. Yeah. So
right. Yeah.
And the point is, you can make a driver's license on automatic, but then you are also only allowed to drive automatic. You are not allowed to drive manual. And I tell you truthfully, I enjoy automatic for comfort. That's okay.
Yep.
When I ride our old Cadillac, I enjoy that. Fantastic. But when it comes to winter and control, always manual. I wouldn't even discuss it.
And that's why it's got nothing to do with the fact that it's fun driving it, because it's not fun. Once you get used to it, it's just kind of you don't even think about it, and it's not really like driving a race car.
It's just automatic. It isn't automatic.
Right, exactly. And in the winter though, because I've been in situations where it has saved me significantly.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can. If I can find a Jeep, like a newer Jeep within the past 5 years that was special ordered as a manual, I'd probably consider that. But like,
it's getting kind of hard to find here in America.
I know, because they're all special order, and it's like,
well, because everything's an automatic now. You basically have to order a manual. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And it's like, well, manuals, they're not that hard to fucking drive.
Combines, even the big combines and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know. We're giving up so much control. I believe that's really giving up control.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. It's even with the speed. It's like, that's the thing is, since I was 15 years old, my first truck that I ever bought with my own money was a manual. That's the first truck I drove, and I wanted to learn how to drive it. I got somewhat good at it, and then also it's good to know how to drive a manual, because when you say you're a teenager or early 20s person, you're at a party or something, right? And you're sober and everybody else is fucking tanked, and like you don't have a ride home, but you have to drive home, and the only vehicle that's there is a manual, right? Well, then you go, okay, not a big deal. Easy. Yep. It's like, you can drive any fucking car. If you can drive a manual, you can drive any car.
Yeah.
Any vehicle. You can drive any vehicle, rather. The learning curve for like driving a tractor, but you still get the concept of like, let the clutch out, let it engage, bam, give it a little bit of gas, okay, you're good to go. And then your gear pattern is this, and then you carry on, and then you can drive any vehicle. And I think that's more liberating and kind of like fun to know that you can drive most vehicles that are out there at any given point, than be limited to just put it in drive and then press the gas. It's like,
Yeah.
and that's easy. It's fun. Again, it's convenient,
For sure.
but it's, and when we go out there, when we go to LA to film in November, I'm going to be renting an automatic, but because it's like, I'm not going to be driving through. And if I can drive automatics on winter roads, so it's not fun, but like I can, but it's also, okay, that's fine. But like to own it up here, I want to have a manual. And I'm really upset that more people don't want to know at least how to drive one.
For sure. Also, a manual transmission is cheaper to make than an automatic transmission.
Right.
You think more people would be into that.
It's also cheaper to drive if you know how to drive it. It's cheaper on gas mileage by far.
Mhm.
By far. About a third. So that's fun.
Somebody's just writing here the first car. My first car was a Beamer. A Beamer is 1602, but it was one of these hidden treasures because it had an 1802 engine in it. So it looked outside like an 6002, but the inside was 1802. That was my first car. And of course, manual. Loved that car, drove it until it really fall apart. Yeah. So that was my first car. Oh.
What was your first car, Devin?
89 Dodge truck. It had no doors and no box on it and 4 different rims.
Cool. Cool.
Yep.
Was it an automatic or manual?
It was an automatic.
Yeah, right on.
I got it for $40 and it had 180,000 miles on it, and I probably drove it for 30,000 miles. Never changed the oil once.
Nice.
It just started every time. It just ran. At that point, I'm like, it's $40. Like, who the fuck?
Who gives a fuck? Yeah.
This thing has no fucking doors on it. Now imagine like -30, and you have no fucking doors in a
Just
single
bundle up
Dodge pickup. Yeah. So
Jesus, that was the
the
Devonius
windows
mobile.
never fogged up. So I mean.
Well, yeah, I mean that's a good thing. Yeah, Chrominian says the Devonius mobile, and that's what we're gonna call it. Yeah,
sure.
I mean that's impressive. That's
I kind of want to like recreate it one day. Just get some old fucking square body Dodge pickup truck, cut the doors off in the box, and be like, "Let's go."
Just be shitbagging. It's not legal at all. You're gonna get pulled over constantly, but like, it's got a collector's plate on it. Check this out.
Yeah, it's collector's now. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could call it a shit box, but it didn't even have a box, so it was actually just shit.
Fuck.
So, yeah.
Well, say I got the middle grade one. I got a '98 Ford F-150 that had a 12-inch lift on it. Not by me. The guy that had it before me did that. And it had an 8-foot bed, single cab, 5-speed manual transmission, and the bench seat in there in the cab.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my because I got it because we used to my parents burn wood for in their wood stove in their basement, and so I got it to be able to transport wood back to the house before we started getting it shipped in or trucked in rather. And so that's why I got that. And then it was like, you learn when you have a truck, everybody's like, "Hey, we're moving next weekend. Can you come help us?"
Can you help us? See now, Mike, what you should have done was just take the box off, and then they don't ask you for help. So,
no, it was the 8-foot box, man. That was a beast. Like that was an awesome thing to have.
Yeah.
With the tonneau cover on it, which actually failed, after a few years. But yeah. So I had a truck, and then you had a truck, and then Bernd had a Beamer.
Yeah, that explains a lot.
Which would you say that in Germany? When you say you have a Beamer in Germany, that's not as cool as like it is in the United States.
The slang Beamer is an original American slang. Yeah, in Germany it's an BVD. Yeah, and
BVD.
That's what you call it. There is no slang or term for it. And I just love.
Yeah, but it's like it's a German. It's like saying you have a Ford in the United States. Everybody's like, okay, who gives a fuck? Because like BMW in Germany, that's like basically the Ford of Germany, one of them. It's like for Dodge or whatever.
At that time, having a Beamer in our area, the Beamer was basically a car was designed for the Alpen Mountain area.
Okay.
That the origin from that car comes from, and having that in my area, you had my hometown. You have to know has a VW plant, and Wolfsburg is where the main
Right.
plant.
Oh, okay.
VW is not far away. So there's really 95% of people have a VW. That's just how it is. And then you have business guys. They drive.
You're from Braunschweig. We should just say that your hometown is Braunschweig for the people in the audience.
Yeah.
And they have the VW plant in Braunschweig.
Yeah.
So
the Braunschweiger who eats Braunschweiger. Yeah. So that's how that now goes here.
Well.
And yeah. And then you have a couple guys driving Mercedes, and then as a young man having a Beamer was kind of. But I got that car from a woman who actually worked in a bank. She drove that car, I think, 5 years, and then I bought it used from her. And it was in perfect condition when I got it, and I drove it then until it really fell apart. So it was cool. It was a good car. I loved it.
Yeah, I drove my first truck until it fell apart. That thing. Yep, exactly. And I drove I vowed to my first vehicle. I think we were the same way. It's like, I'm gonna buy this, pay for it with my own money, and then I'm gonna drive it until it cannot fucking drive anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did with my truck too, like my F-150, and it lasted a long time. It died in 2018, I think, 2017. I beat the shit out of it too, by the way. Like it was.
Yeah, it's the
a
first
truck,
car,
and we live out in the country.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like it's paid off, and it's fun, and it's we live out in the country, so I beat the fuck out of it. But it lasted a long time.
Paid for it. All the stuff that was going to fall off of it was already taken off of it, so it couldn't fall apart anymore. And but yeah, the thing ran for forever.
Sure.
Never changed the oil. You just put oil into it sometimes, and it would be fine. It never. That's
on my F-150. It leaked, dude. Yeah, the oil leaked so bad out of the head gasket. Like it leaked so bad, you could see it dripping out. And my when I was driving, my fuel pressure gauge would start going as I was driving, and I'm like, shit, I have to add oil. Now, how bad is that when your fuel pressure gauge starts going down to nothing and back up as you're driving? You're like, okay.
Sure. Well, mine would lose about a quart and then kind of settle, and you just top it back off, So.
Well, yeah, no, mine was I just kind of added oil to it as it went.
Yep.
And it was just fucking
fair,
insane.
It ran pretty great because it always got new oil. So I mean.
All right, I'll be back in about 5 minutes, and I'll be back. Just you guys keep chatting because it's cool talking about cars and shit because I'm not into cars at all, but it's still cool to if you ask even a car guy, you go, "What was your first car that you ever got?" And
they
drove.
know all about it.
They know everything. I know everything about mine. It was a 4.2 V6. It was a fucking an F-150, 12-inch lift on it. It was a fucking 98 with the 8-foot bed, the fucking single cab, 5-speed manual transmission. Fucking whatever. It's like I don't know shit about cars and I know all those details.
Jeez.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know shit about cars and I know all of that because it was the first car. So but anyway,
similar with me. So how is it going in Canada?
Huh?
How is it going in Canada?
Well, I'm not in Canada, so pretty good.
Oh, okay.
I told you this, Bernd. Oh my god.
I live like 2 hours west of Mike.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So, in Minnesota.
Oh, okay. So closer even to us than to Mike. From Mike to us. I didn't know that. Too bad that you couldn't be up for the trailer shot. That is.
I didn't know about it till Mike was like, "I'm leaving."
Yeah, it was also on short term, and it really. The decision was made, we do that thing. Then I think about 10 minutes later, the decision was made, we do that thing in Iowa. And then from there, it just started rolling and everybody was just completely focused on that. Yeah. And like I said, we had 10 days of preparation and it was crazy. Yeah. It was really crazy. Jörg came up with this cave area that or alone finding that, was unbelievable. And then, of course, I had to prepare for the role. Michael changed the script for the trailer, of course, and that changed my whole setup for the role for the movie. So I had to get involved with that, and luckily Jörg had immense. We went 3 days before out in the 3 days in a row. We went out there and practiced, sent the practice shoots to Michael. Then he gave feedback back, and we tried to incorporate that. It was just crazy. So the whole thing was just wow.
Yeah.
And when that came together, I don't even know how that all came together, because
It sounds
everybody,
like literally stars aligning just
Yeah.
right.
so everybody who was involved, just Mira came on the set as executive producer, and without asking, she grabbed the thing to hold the mic.
Yeah, I
And
saw
the
that
whole
she was
day-
holding the boom. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole day she is running around with that, got her feet wet, and was not complaining once. Yeah, I
Good.
was just amazing. Yeah, and everything just fall in place. And like I said, this trailer is wow. Yeah,
It's gonna be good. I can't
it-
wait till
it-
tomorrow when I see it. I gotta remember at 10 o'clock. I gotta not be at work, or
Yeah.
at least driving, so I could watch it. So
yeah, wow. Yeah, and the funny part is, and also there was no preparation of all the extras which came. Yeah, they came. Then Michael said, I had asked him, give me 5 minutes in advance. I walk with them and I prepare them. And I just went in the back with them and I told them what I want them to do. And that they just have to follow my lead. Yeah. And I actually used German military commando language. And in this 5 minutes, I basically told them what the different signs mean. Yeah, and I mean, we didn't have a lot. It's just basically
just a
start
couple
walking,
little signals here and there.
yeah, and stop. And so that's all what they needed to know. And follow my lead and do not watch into the cameras. Yeah, watch all over, but never into the camera. And while we are on a patrol, check if there's somewhere around. And they all did it. Yeah, just
Look at
cool.
that. You can't
Just
go wrong
cool.
with that.
Yeah. So it was amazing. Yeah. It's also usually when you do a movie, I heard, because this is my first one too, so where I in front of a camera, I heard that they do lots of shots from one scene before they have the right one.
Yeah,
maximum
20 to 30 normally. So
Yeah, the maximum we did was 5, and we
Wow.
had it. Yeah, and I think that was it just all fall in place. Mike jumped in as an extra. He was not even planned for that. And we did at the end in the cave, you will see that tomorrow, we did a scene there. And what I needed for that scene is I needed to feel it. Yeah. And Mike and Ivy got physical. Really. Yeah.
yeah.
And it hurt. It actually hurt. So it's,
Oh gosh.
yeah. So, but that was cool. Yeah. Because of that, like I said, you have not seen something like that. You will be surprised. Yeah. It is really breathtaking. Yeah. It was very tough for me when I saw it the first time without any cutting, just the raw material. When I saw that, I was shocked.
Yeah.
That should tell you everything. Yeah.
He sent me some pictures and stuff while it was going on, and I was like, I'm trying not to cringe at some of those.
Yeah.
And I was like, ugh.
Yeah. So
But it seemed like a load of fun. I probably could have made it if there wasn't any other stuff going on, but we planned to have somebody come out from the East Coast to hang out with me and Mike, and then he found out he was going down to the movie, so he just hung out with me for the whole week. So we had a good time.
Yeah, it was just I don't know. It took me about a week after that to come down from it. Yeah, it was like a drug rush you are in.
Yep.
And it took me about a week to come down from it to get that out. Yeah, because what I've never expected, but when you get into a character and you really you leave your own personality and you go into that character, that's actually exhausting. Yeah, it's really exhausting. And after that day, I was just cooked. Yeah,
Yep.
my last scene was shot,
Yeah.
and they went on to do a couple other things, and I was done for the day. And I was staying in the dark beside the cave on a spot for at least 5 minutes and tried to find myself again. Yeah,
Yep.
I had gone the way up to the cave. I had done that several times, and there is a part you have to climb, and I had done that several times for practicing, and also I knew that very, very well. And I was standing on it. I was looking at it. Didn't know what to do. Yeah, that much I was lost. Yeah, but it was cool. It was a cool lost. Yeah, so yeah. Yeah, so
you definitely got to have that disconnect when you're playing a character. It can be kind of weird to come back into reality. Yeah.
Yeah. That is when you see this tomorrow, and you know me from our chats and all of that here, you will recognize there's suddenly a complete different person, and that is not as easy as it seems when you see it in the movie. So therefore,
For sure. It was just kind of weird to see you without glasses. Even I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it was very intense. Mike, I just told him about our physical position without explaining the situation. I just said that we went both very physical, and that caused for both of us something. Maybe you tell your part of that story without telling the scene. Yeah, so that's not the idea.
You know about the cave scene?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I had to and the blood comes into play too, like the fake blood that Michael made. Yeah, there's a scene that you'll see where it's just I had to get like physical with the wound itself, and I got it all over my hands and shit, and it was like really uncomfortable. It was not comfortable at all, and I was like, okay. And then he was starting to get more aggressive because he was getting into it.
Mike, can you do me a favor? There's a guy just showing up in the chat. I really don't like that.
Cool. Good stuff. Yeah. Yep. So yeah. So we were. Yeah. Thank you for catching that. Devin usually does too, but you were quicker. Devin, you suck. You failed. You suck. Devin usually points those guys out and goes, "Hey," but you.
I try not to bring too much attention to it. I'm just like, "Hey, there's a."
But if there's something that, like that's a blatant, it's just like, go fuck yourself. But anyway, yeah. So we got in there, and so Bernd was already into the role like a lot more because I was shooting around all day. I wasn't necessarily like in character because I don't play a character. I'm just kind of an extra.
Just an extra, yeah.
And we're in the cave and whatever. I started feeling the blood on my hands, or the fake blood. And I'm like, duh, this feels like really it's slippery, and then it gets sticky at a point.
Sticky, yeah, because all the corn syrup.
Yep. But like it felt real. It felt like real blood does, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we did a couple scenes, and then Bernd was getting more physical with me, and I'm like, okay, I get it. And then I was just kind of doing my thing, and then all of a sudden, when I don't want to give away the scene, but like there was one scene where I had to flip my switch off of being like just like you know what I mean, like the numb switch goes on and the regular switch goes off, and I was just like, okay. And then that one, Bernd got really physical because he was into it so much, and I needed that because I was just kind of being the numb guy, like just whatever. Yep. And so he grabs my collar, and he got some skin with it, and it actually, like, the little pain reflex in my head was like, oh, I got it. And then and I came to, and I looked at his eyes, and I'm like, that's not Bernd, that's Walter Brander. And I just you know what I mean? I went bam. Yep. And it was like that, and I threw him off of me. I created distance as soon as possible.
Yep.
And got up, and that was a really good shot. It ended up being a really good shot.
Yeah.
And it was it was so good because it was just real.
Yeah.
Because if somebody's grabbing you, like, even though they're fucked, they're hit really hard. Or if somebody grabs you though, and you can feel pain, you go, okay, now you're a threat again.
Yeah,
All right.
well, also
Bam!
somebody that even if they're dying, somebody can do a lot of damage with their last couple breaths of air and some adrenaline. So
Yeah, exactly. And so that's where it came to in the last scene, and that's what you're gonna see in the trailer, a little bit of that. And again, I'm not a character in the film. I'm portraying what the character in the film is actually gonna be doing. Because I know who's gonna be doing it, and so does Bernd. And so we kind of emulated that and replicated that, and it was and by the way, the actor that's going to be doing the same scene, 150% capable of doing the same exact shit, if not better than I did. So it's gonna look so real. And I mean, it's fucked up because so you look at it one hand, right? He's dying. Everybody knows this. He gets aggressive though. It's like, no, you're still my enemy. You're not my friend. Like if you want to try and hurt me, no, it's not going to fucking happen. And it's so fucked up to like, somebody that hasn't experienced that kind of like that weird thing is like they're gonna go, why are you beating him up that much? Why are you like throwing him back and like hurting him if he's already wounded and you know he's gonna die? Like it's not really a threat, but it's
Still a
like
threat.
it is a threat. It is a threat.
Still a
Yeah,
threat.
it's still a threat. And it's really fucked up to see that because you're beating down somebody that's already dying, but they're getting aggressive with you, and it's like, well, you don't have a choice. Like in that, and so yeah, it's really kind of a
it's got
deep,
extremely intense. That is, and
yep.
Michael and the camera guys were able to capture that.
Mm-hmm.
That is what is this what makes this so very, very special. Yeah, they capture that, and it will be seen. I don't know the final cut of the trailer, so I assume it will be seen in the trailer. And it was really intense and it hurt, but it was good because of that. So that's also, I'm not a wimp. Yeah. So when I'm in this role, I wanna be the best I can be. And in this combination with Mike, at this part, we both were completely out of our own personality. We were there in Italy in 43, in the bodies of these guys. Yeah. And that is very straining. Yeah, it really takes anything out of you. But because of that, I just believe that's something you usually do not see in normal movies, in war movies. Yeah, because this got so real. So it got so real that it starts to be surreal again. Yeah, it's really, and that's what you will see in the trailer, and the whole movie will have way more of that. That's also one thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, so it will be great.
Yeah, because like Bernd, like he got his head bounced off the wall of the cave.
Ooh.
Like it was no holds barred. We had also talked about this, so people know. We had been talking about this for weeks of like, okay, when we're going to be doing this scene, because we knew what was going to happen, or not weeks, but like days, 10 days we've been talking about this for days, and like, okay, so this is what we're planning. This is the role I have to do, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, if either one of us gets hurt, it's fine. Unless it's like, we have to get an ambulance, like we'll just keep going, and nobody got hurt to that extent, thank God. But like, it was still like, it was real. It was like, because and I heard the sound and I was like, oh shit, after the fact, after everything was done, I was like, I bounced his head off the fucking cave wall. Like I heard the boom, and then he just did his thing, and it was real. It was so real. You guys are gonna see it. It's it's and then Joe is the name of the actor that is going to be doing what I did in this scene. He'll do the same thing, and it's going to be really real. It's going to be very, very fucked up to watch this.
It's going to be really intense.
It was. That's the thing, is like all the college students that were on the set helping out and everything. That when we went, we said, hey, when they say rolling, everybody shuts the fuck up. Not a noise because it echoes. No phones on them. They're really good about that, by the way. They were excellent.
Very good. Very good.
And so we did that. And so I was talking to people when I was getting kitted up for doing our scenes later on. And they're like, I was like, so what do you think so far? They're like, this is really intense.
Give me a second.
Yeah.
Nathanael, wir können irgendwann mal live miteinander sprechen. Okay, im Moment passt es nicht, aber irgendwann können wir mal. Okay, go on.
Yeah. We got a lot of German viewers, German and Austrian viewers.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah. Yep. But yeah, no, it's good. But yeah, that's what they described it as, is they were like, this is really intense. And I'm
Good.
like, good.
That's how a whole war.
And I'm like, is it
is
uncomfortable?
intense.
Right. And I was like, was it uncomfortable? They're like, yeah, it's kind of uncomfortable to watch this. And I'm like, good.
Imagine living.
They're
it.
like, yeah, I know it's a film set and everything, but like,
Yeah.
I'm like, good. So we're actually doing our jobs to like make this
a real thing.
And they're like, yeah, it's just really intense. And I'm like, okay, good. And that's not, I guess it's not the reaction that they wanted to hear when I said good, because they were like, yeah, I guess it's good. And I'm like, no, it's good for what we're going for. And I explained it to them, like what we're doing. And they're like, oh, well, then you've got it. I was like, yeah, we want this to be raw, unapologetic. Just all right, go ahead, Bernd.
Yeah,
Well, no, Netanya.
Yeah, he's answering in German. So he wishes us that we have fun doing this here. So
yeah, Spaß, fun. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that is Netanya. Kommen Sie.
Nathanael, woher kommst du?
Here's the thing: is I was told whenever you're talking to somebody that you don't know, you use Sie. Okay. Unless you're in Hamburg and they also use du for everything. So I'm sorry, I'm trying to be polite there, Bernd.
Wenn ich ihn beim Vornamen anspreche, muss ich auch in der Du-Form bleiben. Sonst hätte ich ihn mit deinem letzten Namen ansprechen müssen. Dann wäre die Sie-Form angebracht.
Okay.
Did you get it?
Got a little bit of it. But...
If I call him by his first name, then I stay with a du. If I address him by his last name, then Sie would be.
Okay, so I got that. But is that universal in Germany?
Yeah, it's in general. Yeah. So
if you had all call somebody by their first name, you're on the du basis.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Okay.
So the point is, here in America, it's way more common that you call somebody by the first name.
Yes.
So all my customers here in America are addressed by their first name, and of course you don't have the du and sie. Yeah, but so in Germany you address customers or people you are not close always by their last name.
And that would be Z at that point.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it's because right. Yeah, and it's funny because like
I prefer the American way. Yeah, so
it's easier. It's less to keep track of. But like
right.
when I was growing up, I was always told, like even my friends' parents, I called them Mr. or Mrs.
Last name,
so and so. That's the way I grew up, and until they said you can just call me so and so.
Yeah.
So that's similar because it's whatever. So that's where
I remember when I grew up, I had kind of a mentor in being a referee, and I had a lot of respect for that man. And he was quite a bit older than I was, and he offered me at some point the du, so the first name base.
Yep.
And I told him, it's very fine if you call me Bernd, but I will call you and address you by your last name just because of respect. I had so much respect.
I did that too. Yeah, I did that too with a lot of people. I called them Mr. or Mrs. So and so, and so that's kind of where I was a little bit confused when they were teaching us in German class in college about like this, and that's why I err on the benefit of, or I'm sorry, I err on the side of the benefit of the doubt by saying Z, and then they can correct me and be like, yeah, you can call me Du. It's the first name, we're good. So yeah, that's what I learned. I hope it's not the wrong way, but that's also the way I was. That's also the way I was taught in the United States. So
yeah.
without the do z thing, just Mr.
Yeah,
and Mrs.
like I said, I really I prefer the American way of very simple with the U all the way through, and
Yep.
also
Oh yeah. Yep.
easier way of addressing people by their first name. Do that with all my customers, and I get addressed by them by my first name, and I'm good with that. I like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's good. And it was funny. There was a thing a few years back when I was taking German in college. There was it was kind of a meme. It had the table of der, die, das, den, or dame, den, and whatever the fuck, the dative, all that shit, all the stupid fucking things in this table of like when you say that, and then the English one was the. It's the or the for every fucking
Everything. Yeah.
everything, and I'm like, well, that is a little bit easier, you know.
Yeah, it
So.
is. Yeah, I think that's one of the big things in the German language, that you have this der, die, das, and then the S and all of that.
Yeah, and yeah,
makes it very difficult and to learn. When you grow up naturally with it, then it just comes with
yes,
it.
yep.
But you won't believe how many Germans are out there and don't even are able to handle that. Yeah, there's a lot of Germans out there who are not
Right.
able to handle that.
Well, that was my first teacher's assistant that was from Germany, my first couple semesters of college. She says, yeah, well, to be honest, most of the time the younger Germans, they just go, duh.
Huh.
When they're saying, der, die, das, because it's like they just say duh, and like when you're talking fast, nobody
It just
knows.
blends together. Yeah.
But you have to know what gender the word is, the noun is,
Right.
to do this.
Right.
But that's just natural. But a lot of times they can't remember the basic, like the articles of the word. But you know the sentence structure and
Yep.
what needs to be said, but you can't remember. So they just kind of cheat and they go duh. You know, like they kind of make a duh sound because everything starts with a D. You know, der, die, das, der, dem, den, and all that shit, and like it's dining and all that shit. And so they just do that. And she's like, I wouldn't advise you to do that because you don't know, but that's how we do it. And I said, okay,
Good enough for me.
I will not do that, but I understand now. And yeah, and that was the one Bernd I was telling you about. She said that speaking English is so much easier than speaking German, like as far as the grammar and everything, like because you have to worry about a lot less things. She says writing English correctly is very difficult.
Yeah,
That's difficult. I agree to
Very
that.
difficult. And I understood that. I was like, yes, because there's a reason why we go through 13 years of English class with our normal schooling, and then you have to take English in college if you so choose to go to that.
Mhm.
It's a weird language. It's very, there's a lot of stupid things, but it makes more sense for certain things in English than it would like Arabic. When I was in Iraq, like we learned Arabic, and I was like, that's a very non-descriptive language. Because if I were to say, okay, Bernd, go grab that rifle over there that has the brown stock on it, and whatever, and it's the second from the left on the door. Okay, bring it to me. They would just go, you bring rifle to me.
Hmm.
That's what it literally translates to. It's like caveman speak.
Yeah, and
it's
they
so
also don't. It's so old they don't have words for things that exist.
Right, and so no, Baron, this is fun. So in Arabic, I don't know if you know this, but like the word for machine gun, right, is rashash.
Rashash.
Because the sound it makes. It's the sound it makes.
Okay.
And they literally say, oh fuck, I can't even. But the word for machine gun is rashasha.
Okay.
Because it's such a modern word.
Machine gun makes because they don't have machine guns. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a thing when the language was invented.
Well, even like an RPG, right? They just got that from the English language. They go, rocket propelled grenade, which is I can't do the Russian pronunciation of that. Whatever but they just go RPG. They use the English word for it, RPG.
Because they don't have a word for it. So you
Right.
get that mixing
And that's
all
what
the
it's called.
time,
And so they have to add that word or that series of words. And it's like, oh, that's a really old language when even German had the same shit going on in the 20th century.
Yeah. I mean the development of well, here's my word by the way again, of languages is very interesting too. Yeah. So
Yep.
it's how many English words have influenced or snuck into the German language, or how many French words snuck
Yep.
into the German language, but also then the other way around. Kindergarten, which is used in English here in America, there's a German word, yeah, and the French are using German words too. So it's really interesting how that starts to intertwine. Yeah,
everything together.
Well, in English originally was it's what is now Swedish, Norwegian, and
It's Germanic language. So.
Well, no, Swedish and Norwegian aren't Germanic languages; they're Nordic languages. So it's that mixed with the tribal languages of the UK, what is now the UK, that area, the Isles, mixed with French, mixed with the German tribal languages. So English is this. If you ever there's a guy on YouTube that actually did research. He's done some research. And he speaks Old English back in the 12th or 11th centuries when it first started coming out. And you can't understand him because it sounds like Scottish mixed with all the language that I just said. It's not clear at all. So if we were to go back as English speakers to the 12th century, we got time warp back there in an English speaking country, we would be fucked.
Couldn't understand anyone.
No, and they would not understand us. And it's like, what? Okay, and but Shakespeare, that era, it kind of started to develop into a different language, and that's where you get a lot of the modern words, a lot of pronunciation through Shakespearean English, and for whatever reason, it blew up.
For sure. Well, that's because it was standardized. That's when English.
That is interesting also regarding our movie, because in 40, 45, in that time span, they were speaking a different kind of German than they speak today.
Right.
Yeah,
well,
so
same with same with the U.S. English. It's different words.
You're right.
And
different
also different dialects that don't exist anymore. Let's be honest here.
Or even dialects which are still existing but have changed, like Low German. When you take today's Low German and you take the 40, 45 Low German, there are certain words which were completely proper when you named them in 40 or 45. If you use them today, you are basically insulting somebody. Yeah, so there's really, it's interesting how in English I have one sample which is really everybody will know today. Gay is a word is used for homosexuals. If you go back into the 40s, has a complete different meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's this how languages evolve and change. So, and that's very interesting. In this movie we are right now working on in Rivoli, we actually, Jörg and I, made sure that the slangs and words we are using actually fit into into 43. Yeah, so that's really cool, and I really like that because that makes it historical, also very valuable. Yeah, so it's really cool.
Exactly. And that's the thing is, like, I mean, our language is because you take Devin and I's accent, right? Which is a pretty I mean, he's from northern Canada, but like came down here, our accent is very what you would call clean. It's like it's the equivalent of like Braunschweig accent. It's very clean. Everybody who speaks English can understand our accent.
Can understand us very well, yeah.
Right. Very well. Very clear, very enunciated. Yeah, but my parents, my dad in particular, he has a very very upper Midwest Wisconsin accent.
That he
Okay.
does.
And yeah, you've met him, and
I
yeah,
met him.
he
Yeah.
definitely has that.
Yep.
And so with generations, it evolves. The language evolves to be something that it wasn't, and it's even people that I know from the South, right? Their parents have the, yeah, man, hey, yeah, we're just talking here tonight. It's not a big deal, man. Hey, we're having a great time, man. Yeah, I like what you're doing. Their kids, right? Their kids who are my age, they go, well, yeah, we're sitting here talking tonight. We're having a good time. It's not that big a
All
deal.
emulsifying slowly.
Yeah, but like it gets less of the accents, of like the rural, the regional accents. It
Mhm.
becomes more of a weird thing, and it's got to be the same in Germany because you've got so many dialects that were so back in the days, like the Goss and the Visigoths, like these tribes were talking so much differently uh, with each other, and they kind of got this language that became what we now know as German, but even back in the day. And so everything evolves. Every generation it evolves as far as language is concerned, and it changes even in the past 80 years. You know,
Yeah.
and so it's very interesting. I wonder where it's going to be in the future.
Well, it's changed even in our lifetime, Mike, because you
Yes.
probably remember "ain't" wasn't a word. It is now
Yeah.
actually a word. You probably
Yeah.
got told that in school that "ain't" is not a word.
Ain't in a word, and I ain't going to use it.
And
Yeah.
it is a
Mm.
word now. It is an official word. It's in dictionary.
Yeah, I know. Yep. Yeah, and you
And
can. Yeah, it's weird how like
I got
lang.
scolded for that. And now
Well,
it's fine.
so again, I'll just point out a bunch of my flaws that I notice from my grandmother speaking to me. What she pointed out, I say like a lot. I go, it's like, it's like. Okay, I say that a lot. So my grandma, she went to my cousin's graduation or rehearsal and all that shit, and my cousin was wearing sandals, and she goes, "I like your thongs."
What's wrong with that?
Well, in the early 2000s, thongs meant a different thing.
Oh, you mean the underwear?
Yes, and so it's like even in that short amount of time, things change and accents change. Like my grandma didn't have that much of an accent except on a few words, but that was a French Canadian coming in. Like she would say for a package, like she goes, I'm expecting a pack, or she'd say, I'm expecting a package today.
Package. Yes.
Package. And I'm like, you mean package? She goes, yeah, that's what I said.
Package. There's
You said
definitely an A in there.
You said package, yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
There must have
just
been a German background because that is
not with her.
It's a French
Huh.
thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's very, I mean, French and German's like
Pretty similar.
not that far apart.
Yep. Yeah, it's just, apples and oranges. You know?
I just had to say that because I knew Bernd would be like, no.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, it's and then growing up around here, like we've got German heritage, Swedish, Norwegian, Danish, French Canadian. It's whatever. And that's the thing is, like we were talking about Devin, like you brought up earlier, is the guy that when I was ice fishing with my friend in like 7th grade,
My goddamn
you
car
took my
battery.
goddamn car battery.
Here we go again.
Yep,
Yeah, but it's
damn
like
car battery.
it's like the guy's definitely a fucking Swede.
Yep.
Definitely a Swede.
Definitely.
Definitely. And he heard his parents talk like that, and his grandparents probably spoke Swedish in their house.
Yep.
Because most of the farms around here are Swedish or Norwegian.
I still know people that have grandparents that don't speak English that well. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's that close.
people that
But
moved
the
here like
language
in
has
the 40s and 50s, and they still hardly
Yep.
speak any English. They've been here for forever, and they just talk in Swedish in their house. So
Yeah, it's that's what my grandma did. She spoke French in her house until my great uncle went to school and started bringing English back into the home. So my grandma, she spoke fluent French. her whole life. Like she could just like her and my great uncle would sit there, and we would be playing games, and they get in an argument, which was fun. And they'd go from English, and they'd just go right into French, and they'd just be screaming at each other in French.
Yep.
Just
Well,
bam,
my
and then
mother was. You'd get
my-
mad, and then you'd go from English to bam, Russian.
Mhm.
That's how you knew it was like, okay, well, it's about to go down.
it's
My
serious.
coworker-
Yeah.
My co-workers know when I'm getting pissed, I'm starting to swear in German.
Yep.
Yep.
That's actually true. Yeah, it's actually true.
It
Yeah,
snaps
I get-
back. Yeah, your natural language snaps back
I'm
in
Yeah,
starting
you.
to swear in German, and then they know better pay attention. You know, that's really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
The
the
cool
thing
part
is, it's just yeah.
Because I'm doing that, they don't actually know what I'm saying, but they recognize, oops, something is not quite where it should be.
Not right.
Yeah.
You understand
Then they
it in his tone, and
Yeah. It's
Oh,
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same with every that's why I like the US is like we've got so many people from all over the fucking world.
That's right.
And when they yeah, it was so great watching my grandma and her brother argue in French. Because his wife was Polish, like she didn't speak a lick of French. I mean I took French in school a little bit, but like I don't know how to speak it. And we would just sit back and we'd just go, okay, and then they'd be hitting the fucking board of the game and screaming and pointing fingers.
Yep.
And then no, just like screaming in French because it's easier when you've got a language that you know
Yep.
to just scream the bad shit in it. It's like it's easier. It's just you don't have to think about it, and then it would be like okay, it would cool down, and then my uncle would get up or my great uncle would get up and walk around a bit. My grandma would be like, "He's such a horse's ass."
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
And then we convene back on the thing. We play the rest of the game. It was like, okay, I got it. Yeah, I get it.
God.
Little entertainment in within, and everything is good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was really
That's
funny because like it was, it's really kind of funny to hear, you know, people that are speaking English just fluently, perfectly,
Mhm.
all of a sudden get heated.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they go to just this they start speaking half French, half English, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, it's about to kick off.
Yep.
And then
Red
it's
face
just
yelling, 100% French. Yeah.
and you can't understand any of it if you don't speak it.
Yep.
And then it's just kind of fun to just sit there and watch that. You're like, I think I know what they're saying with their body language and everything, but my uncle swore a lot more than my great uncle swore a lot more than my grandma, but it was fun.
You never
And,
was like, I don't think something's right
Well,
here.
and then she would yell at him about swearing. And it's like, well, we can understand it. Who gives a shit? Like,
Yep.
but
Swear
she
all
would
you
yell
want.
at him for swearing, and then he'd get fired up. Oh god, it was so fun. It was so fun. But I'm glad to have had relatives, you know, in the U.S. like that, literally grew up speaking a different language. It just what it is. It's great, and God, that's something that like not a lot of the countries like they have immigration now, but like up until up until recently, like the U.S. is one of those places where it's you get people yelling at each other. Well, they don't usually do that in Swedish because they're very calm, don't want to start anything. But
Passive
French,
aggressive.
Germans, they'll yell. They don't give a shit. They'll yell, and they'll be like, and it's fun. But because I had a lot of friends who were their parents were first or second generation German immigrants, and they had a farm. Every one of them had a farm, and they could speak fluent German, and they'd get pissed off and they'd start just going on a tirade by themselves in German, and I'm like, interesting. I wish I knew what they were saying.
Yep. I don't think something's right here.
Right.
Oh
But
gosh.
yeah, very interesting. So
Yeah. Well, we're at about 2 hours.
oh shit, you gotta go to sleep. It's 8.
I do. I gotta head out to that birthday thing first.
That'll be fun.
I don't know about that. We're not tipping this canoe before, We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, the big point. The big point is tomorrow, 10 o'clock.
10
Well, it's
a.m.
10 a.m. Yep.
Central Standard Time.
Yep.
So that will be the big point. I'm really looking forward to that.
Me
I know
too.
you are. Yeah.
We have
Me too.
Mike. We have seen the footage, but we haven't seen the trailer, which is supposed to be released tomorrow. So,
Right. It's going to be pretty interesting.
yeah, it's for us the first time then too. To see it. So
Exactly.
it's a real premiere coming up.
It's the premiere.
Ooh.
And then Bernd Wittneben is the star in this because he's the only one who's speaking German. Throughout the entire Film. Was machst du, die verrückte amerikanische Schlampe?
Was versuchst du gerade, Mike? Ich verstehe das nicht so ganz. Du musst ein bisschen lauter sprechen.
I have to speak louder. Okay, yeah, okay. What am I doing? Yeah. Fuck off.
I
Yeah.
understand that one. No.
That was clear, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, alles klar. And all right, so yeah, with that, thank you guys who are watching right now. And Sindankit, whatever the fuck your name is. This is cool. Yes, it is cool. It's gonna be cooler. Everybody, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, convert it. You can use Google. It's pretty easy.
Or just no time.
Yeah, yes. I know. But anyway, we're gonna be doing the premiere of the trailer then, and then you can see Bernd in a different light.
Yeah.
So, all right, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. Give you the old salute.
Look at that.
That'll be cool. You follow on the Facebook pages and the Revelay Facebook page, you'll see that. So that's awesome. All right, we will end this. We'll end this, and good night, everybody. And we'll see you in the morning doing the premiere.